Welcome back. We're still here with Jason and Doug talking about the Upper Peninsula Fly Fishing Film Festival, but more importantly, the impacts really that the fundraising efforts has on classrooms, then also the conservation efforts of the Trout Unlimited Fred Wara chapter, because really when we're talking about this film festival, it goes beyond just some guys having a love of fishing and showing those videos to other people that have a love of fishing. It's really you have a mission. There's conservation efforts that you do. How important is that to what you guys do with the chapter?
Really important. I mean, we're about conservation and education. We don't receive any funding from the National Trout Unlimited organization or the state, so everything that we want to do costs money, and everything we raise all that money here locally, and all that money stays here locally to help our children in our water. And so everything from putting brush bundles into streams to helping culvert replacements to the salmon in the classroom to any of our other outreach events, all that money stays here locally. So this is our main fundraising effort for the year, and so that's, all that money that we raise here goes right into the community here in our area.
And these programs and these efforts, the education piece, it's not just teaching kids about some hypothetical, conservation effort. It's real world applicable things that they will be experiencing, whether they're going fishing or just a hike in the woods. I mean, with the salmon in the classroom specifically, learning about how they spawn and how they stay alive, and many of us go fishing and we rely on that for food and for livelihood. So there's so much that goes into these fundraising efforts. When we're talking about, say, dollar amounts, how much you tend to raise or look to raise every year that you're giving back to classrooms?
Oh boy, I think in the upcoming segment they'll talk a little bit more about salmon in the classroom and maybe what it costs to run each of the individual locations. But it's in the tens of thousands each year, and we have to raise that money, right? And there's equipment involved, and that equipment has a tendency to run out of time, right? It expires, and we have to have backup stuff. So all of that costs money. All of the waters that you're going to be seeing that are in the films on Saturday that are from the Upper Peninsula, almost all of those are part of our chapter. The Keweenaw, shout out to our good friends up in the Keweenaw chapter. But all those waters are things that, we have to take care of those. We can't take them for granted. There's effort that needs to be put in place to make sure that those waters are cared for and that the access to those waters are cared for, but that we're also being responsible, that we're, not spreading invasive species, and we're not running the rivers out of the fish so that there aren't the access for future generations. All that takes effort. So. Yeah.
And I can't help but think that these efforts are super important right now, because we're hearing about federal layoffs and budget cuts, and for example, sea lamprey control. I don't know what the current situation of the UP DNR employees are here, but that's something that we've been talking about in the news, are these layoffs and how it might impact our conservation. So it seems to me that hosting these festivals, fundraising for these efforts, passing on the knowledge of conservation is just super, super important. It goes beyond just having these hands-on experiences.
Sure.
Yeah, exactly. When we do the Salmon in the Classroom releases, there's a lot more that's built into those releases other than just taking the little salmon fry out to the river and letting them go. There's always talks about conservation. We've got some sampling for invasive species. We're going to kind of talk through how some of that happens in the streams and how to try and prevent some of that, and what we can do to help. The more of those younger generation that we can reach with that message, I think the better chance we have at trying to at least keep it even.
Yeah.
Certainly. Well, we're going to take another commercial break, and when we come back, we're going to talk more about the Salmon in the Classroom program specifically and the impacts on area classrooms. We'll be right back.